Me.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another fun-filled nonsense retrospective. With Evan and Rick, say hello.
Hello, Devon and Rick.
Yeah, and you said you wanted to start with something today, so I'm going to toss over straight to you.
Oh, you completely misinterpreted my words. I
Okay.
said when we start the show proper, start talking about the topic. Throw to me.
Okay.
Yeah. So
You can tell the amount of preparation we had for this. So yeah, we're going to start then with our time-honored tradition of the nonsense asinine hypotheticals, and we both got one today. What's your one for me?
yes, let's pretend you didn't already bollock it up. Love you, buddy. My question is a nice simple one. Real or fake doesn't matter, but you instantly gain the knowledge and skill of one form of martial art. Which one do you choose? And you know what? Just to make life easier, you can't pick a fighting style from Dragon Ball Z. You don't get key powers. Because that's bullshit.
Pick a lightsaber form, I guess, because it kind of assumes
you don't
have the Force.
You don't get a lightsaber from it.
You don't get a lightsaber, but you can use the Force and hit people with a stick, which is all pretty much anyone ever wanted when they play with a lightsaber out in the world.
It really bums me out whenever we have this type of fucking question. It always defaults to fucking lightsabers and Star Wars with you.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna. Yeah, okay. So, well, I'm gonna alter my question. It can't involve weaponry. You don't gain mystic bullshit from it. It's just the fighting style.
The problem with that is my second choice would have been ninjutsu, which kind of isn't a real style, but it's kind of built together from different styles and supported by gadgets and subterfuge.
Well, the problem with ninjutsu is you got to be a bit more specific than that, because ninjutsu is a very broad term. Because do you mean like the fucking Sarangan from fucking Naruto, or do you mean literal fucking like I'm going to be a spy and shit like that?
I think the spy stuff is more obviously realistic because that's what they actually did and how ninjas actually worked. Because if you pick Naruto, then that's basically I want every power from every time to be infested with some kind of demon fox to make friends with it, and like I have a colossal sword bigger than clouds, and it can shoot lasers.
Well, here's the thing, right? With realistic ninjas, as it were, there was always two types. You've always got to remember there's ninjas themselves, and then there's also shinobi.
Yeah.
And shinobi is more like secret police than I'm going to spy on shit, which is still spying in its own right when you think about it. But yeah, it's not really a martial art form so much as a career.
Yeah, I feel you. What I think of a lot of the time is the guys in socks going across rooftops and dropping into someone's house, stabbing him in the neck, and then leaving.
Sure.
If that's not martial arts enough, then
I mean, you can pick it and we can end the question, but like I don't think
we'll pick ninjutsu, and we'll expose that I don't know enough about any other martial arts to be able to pick them over being a goddamn ninja.
Fair enough. You want to learn parkour and stab people? Got it.
Yeah. I get the ability. I don't have to learn it. It just comes. But my one for you is a bit tried to today. We're going to be talking about Sentai spin-offs today, if you've not seen by the title card. My question for you is, you get to join the ancillary cast of one of these shows. For example, like, we're not going to talk about Power Rangers, but the example is, like, joining Zordon's house and being, like, a buddy with Alpha, his assistant, or even his replacement. Which one do you pick, and which one do you join, and why?
I get what you're saying, but who the fuck wants to replace a robot butler?
Well...
Like, you can replace Alpha. I'd rather not. He seems like a bitch. Yeah. Like, that's all Alpha does is the bitch work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's better for the other shows, though, to a degree.
Sure.
Because the other shows don't have Alpha.
Yeah.
His only gag is just, I am Alpha, I get upset at things and go, aye.
Yeah, literally. If you say Alpha, my brain goes, aye. It's like, that's all he was.
They even have the fucking song in the Power Rangers movie
in the
credits of, oh, have you not heard it?
Not
it's the I song, and it's I.
I choose to believe that you've made this up on the spot, and I'm going to move on with my life in blissful ignorance. And
I loved that song so much as a kid. I had to go and replay the credits just to listen to it.
sad, strange little child.
Yeah, this is before YouTube.
Yeah, no, I know. I too was just born on the cusp where I couldn't just go, that was cool, I'm going to watch it again. Type.
Yeah.
You know.
You kiddlywinkers, you've got it easy.
Yeah, man. We couldn't pause live TV.
No.
You missed Pokemon that week. You don't get to see what Pokemon Ash captured / got his ass owned by.
No.
Slightly forgotten the question. I'm replacing someone in Power Rangers, but not a Power Ranger.
Yeah, you can either replace or join one of the, like, butler teams. So, not Alpha, but, like, maybe Alpha, but in one of the other things, in, like, Beetlebugs, VR Troopers, Mass Rider, all that shit.
I don't want to live in a world with Super Sentai characters, and I'm not one of the Super Sentai characters. That being said, I would totally serve Rita Repulsa because she is cute.
Yeah.
Which I think is a very, 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 very shallow and bad reason to, literally betray your race. That race being humans, not white people, I promise.
Oh boy. Yeah. Yeah, joining Rita is actually a pretty fun one because, it might make for some good telly. You've got an actual human joining Rita.
Like, Rita, do we really want to take over the planet? I can make you tequila.
Yeah. Plus, I've got this 5-point plan.
Listen,
for those of you listening on audio, like I forgot how many nut fingers were 5.
Listen. You want to take over the world? We need to start with teenagers. Now, I don't know if you know this, Rita, but male teenagers are incredibly easy to manipulate. All we need is you in a bikini for like 5 minutes, and we've got an army.
Yeah.
Also, like, Red Ranger, Black Ranger, Blue Ranger. All right, the Blue Ranger's gay. Maybe not him. But Black Ranger and Red Ranger, we can manipulate those. And I don't know, the Blue Ranger might be a furry. We could do something with Goldar. I don't know.
Oh, boy.
I don't know what the dude's like. Man, that dude's story is tragic.
Yeah, it is.
Ugh.
And, like, even in universe, he did the opposite of he went from being a ranger to just being Alpha's number 2.
Hey, to be fair, I always liked Billy.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons
keeping him in the cast, yeah.
It was one of the reasons why Turbo had an easy grip on my brain. It's like, hey, Blue Ranger! He was my favourite until Tommy showed up.
Yeah.
Not Tommy. Is it Tommy?
Yeah, well, Tommy was
green and white,
green and white, and green, white, and then red, and then black later on. Yeah,
I wasn't watching at that point. Who cares?
He's a team unto himself, is that guy.
But yeah, I don't want to live in a world.
You don't want to live in a world where you're not a Power Ranger.
If Power Rangers exist and you're not a Power Ranger, your life sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Unless you're Bulk.
Yeah.
Bulk does well off the Power Rangers existing, after the teenage years anyway.
Yeah, Bulk and Skull.
Yeah, but Skull pisses off for a while on a trip to Tahiti or some shit.
Yeah, he buggers off, yeah.
Well, we managed to fucking squeeze 10 minutes out of that, so that's not bad.
Yeah, pretty good. But yeah, today we're talking about, well, we talked about Power Rangers in the past, we're talking today about the Power Rangers spin-offs.
Not spin-offs, just things that come under the same umbrella. Although, they kind of are spin-offs, because like Big Bad Beetleborgs, for example, uses footage from another Super Sentai show, and Super Sentai has always been owned by Toei, so...
Yeah, pretty sure they all do. Beetleborgs does the obvious thing of they use one season's worth for the one series for the first season, another series for the second season, and the thing that it was based on ended, so they had to end that as well. Rather than, making their own actual high production values costumes and continuing.
Absolutely, but Big Bad Beetleborgs, and we'll get into it when we start talking about it, is interesting as far as it comes to Sentai shows, in that they focused more on the sitcom dumb stupid shit than they did the actual Super Sentai stuff. But we'll get to it when we get to it. Rick, do you remember what I said before we started the podcast, which you kind of spoiled for the audience?
Yeah, gonna toss over to you for this.
Yes, there's two things I want to dwell on before we get into anything else. First things first, let's discuss what Super Sentai actually means. Rick, do you know what this means?
As far as I'm aware, it is a team of humans who transform into costumed humans, and they gain their power not only from the transformation but also from their camaraderie.
That's not a bad take. I have the official definition written for me right here. It's a paragraph. Are you ready?
Okay.
In every Super Sentai series, the protagonists are a team of people who, using wrist-worn or handheld devices, transform into superheroes and gain superpowers, aka color-coded uniforms, signature weapons, sidearms, and fighting skills, to battle a group of otherworldly supervillains that threaten to take over the Earth. In a typical episode, the heroes thwart the enemy's plans and defeat an army of enemy soldiers and the monster of the week before an enlarged version of the monster confronts them, only to be defeated again when the heroes fight it with their mecha. Each Super Sentai series is set in its own unique fictional universe. Various TV, video, and film specials feature a team-up between one or more teams, and, you know, it's a bit more all sort of combined into one canon universe when it comes over to the West in the form of Power Rangers, but that is the definition of Super Sentai. Thank you. I'll take a bow. But yes, we know about the crossovers as well because in Series 3 of Mighty Morphin, we have a Kamen Rider crossover.
Yeah, we do. It was basically the soft pilot for the Masked Rider adaptation show series, which I actually liked.
I also liked it, but I unlike you, I probably got introduced into a bit of a unique fashion in that this is going to be such a British thing. Car boot sales, Rick.
Yeah.
My mum bought a tape for like £1, and that was my gateway and pretty much my only knowledge of Masked Rider for a long time. Very interesting thing about Masked Rider. In Japan, Kamen Rider, they're all different people.
Yes,
it's a team of Kamen Riders. In the West, it's one dude who gets different suits.
Yeah, he does. I think he got 3 before they finished it. And the middle one, they thought, okay, we're going to use a couple of episodes of this, but it was literally just a couple of episodes. It was basically the first suit and the third suit for the entire series, with a couple of episodes of, oh, you can be Super Gold, but why would you want to be when Super Blue is apparently better in every way?
I remember I had a toy once, and I don't know how I got this toy, but I'm going to assume it's a car boot sale again, because, you know, cheap. Yeah. But it was a really big figure, compared to a child. I'm sure it was only about like that tall, but to a child that's like a third of your height. Of just Kamen Rider. And that was it. He didn't have anything special. He could move his arms, but I fucking loved that thing. I wish I still had it.
Yeah. That actually sounds like a really good figure to have, because like,
go on. Sorry.
Kamen Rider, he was like you say, he was the only guy in that, so you have the entire team in the palm of your hand. Like, you didn't have to buy like 7 fucking color-coded rainbow troopers.
Well, I'll tell you what, I can actually think of the best parallel, because everyone owned one of these, at least in Britain, because it was popular in Britain. He was the same size as an Action Man. Okay. That's how big we're talking.
Yeah, they did Power Rangers ones about that size as well. I think when Dragonzord was new, it automatically got bundled with a Green Ranger.
Makes sense.
And that was the only way to get a Green Ranger one of those. You had to buy the Dragonzord. So, so it kind of pulled you into. But if you only cared about the robots, it pulled you into buying the other the person figures. If you only cared about the person figures, it pulled you into buying the other robots.
That's aimed more at collectors than at kids, though, I imagine.
I suppose, yeah.
But I get what you're saying. I'm seeing as we're on Kamen Rider, I didn't think we'd get to it till a bit later. But I actually still own some Kamen Rider merchandise.
Oh, nice.
It's one of the few things I bought in Japan.
Yeah, like, it's still something that... Are you swatting the...
There's a fucking piece of dust flying in the world.
Oh, a piece of dust, okay.
Like, you can't see it on the camera, but I can fucking see it.
Yeah. Yeah, Kamen Rider is something that, as to my knowledge, is still ongoing in Japan to this day. And even without that, it still like holds a massive place in the cultural zeitgeist.
It's one of my few regrets, but I'm going to go to Japan again in my lifetime, at least once. Yeah. But one of my regrets is I didn't go to the Kamen Rider Cafe.
Yeah.
I've seen the menu, it's great. I've seen the interior because of footage from one Woolly Versus. it looks fun, and I need to go there once in my life, and it's going to be a point I make to go to the next time I visit. But yeah. I told you this before. I've told you the story of how I got these. I went to an old wizened Japanese man on Akihabara.
Yes.
Had basically a store that was just a mountain of crap inside, and I was just like flabbergasted. It looked like a hoarder's house. But and I'm a big dude. It was very difficult for me to move and shift through stuff, and I found a bunch of tiny little boxes of. And listen, if you're listening, Bandai, because I'm pretty sure you still own. It might be Hasbro that owns the toy rights now. But if you're listening, make these a thing for every Sentai series, because I will buy every one, because they are fucking cool. And I'm sorry for people listening on the audio, you're not going to be allowed to see this. Go onto YouTube and visit. But these, man.
Yeah, the little tiny helmets.
That's all it is. I've got 3 of these little fuckers. They're so cool. Sorry, they're very dusty. I had to dig them up because I knew we were doing the show today. But they're so fucking cool. All it is a tiny little helmet. This one's lost one of its antenna because I moved it a bit too hard.
Yeah.
It's fucking great. I want them to always do this.
Yeah, it does. Like you say, it does seem like a really simple and neat little thing to have. And if you're a turbo nerd, you can even stick it on the front of your car instead of like like the Rolls Royce symbol or whatever.
They're made of plastic. They won't last.
Yeah.
But but man, if you did that, I don't even watch Power Rangers. I don't care. If the brand new series of Power Rangers went, look, buy these little busts, I'd be like, yeah, I'm buying all of them. They look cool. But alas, it isn't to be. But yeah, again, I'm pretty sure I told this on the podcast. I might not have done, so I'm just going to dwell on it a little bit more. This little old Japanese man, was so happy to have people buying stuff from him. He did it to everyone who went in the store, although it used to be other Japanese people, not just me and my white as fuck friend.
Yep.
But when I went to buy them, he didn't speak English. Don't expect him to. He's an old Japanese man. I know everyone's like, oh, they speak good. Not everyone speaks English. I don't know where that myth has come from. Some people speak a bit of it, sure.
Everyone has to learn English in school in modern times, is where that comes from, I believe.
Yeah, but we all have to learn French, but I can't speak French.
Oui, la bibliothèque. It's just the fucking French
Bibliothèque
version
means
of the
library.
Spanish memes.
That's all I know. Yeah. But yeah, he was so happy, and he went, words in Japanese I cannot repeat because I don't know Japanese. And he got a pen, and on the side of the boxes was a list of names in Japanese. So I didn't fucking know anyway. And he just crossed off the box of each name on each of the box, and he was telling me what mask I was getting.
Oh, cool. So
and I'm like,
knew.
That's awesome. It didn't help because I can't read Japanese.
Oh yeah, totally.
But it did help in the respect that I knew I was getting 3 different ones.
Yeah. That is a good thing, because how much does it suck to get blind bags and get the same fucking thing?
Yeah.
Right? When you don't have friends who are getting the same blind bags that you can trade with.
I don't think I could, apart from you, potentially, I can't think of anyone who actually likes Kamen Rider amongst my friends. But yeah, man.
And even then, like, the only one that I know very well is, like, the iconic old one that's, the one that looks like an ant.
Yeah, because it's, as you said, it's iconic.
Yeah.
But yeah, went off on a bit of a spiel. We can tick Kamen Rider off our list.
We're gonna do a little bit more on it when we.
We'll do it now because we're on the topic.
Okay, so Kamen Rider. It wasn't the first one that they released, but it was the first one that people cared about. Simply because of that crossover episode. They changed a couple of things from the crossover episode's lore to fit in with something that could be, televised and actually work as a TV show proper. I'm pretty sure it only lasted for 1 season.
In the West, almost definitely.
Yeah.
In Japan, it still goes on to this day.
Yeah. He had a family. He had a little Furby, which I think the Furby's name was actually just Furbus.
Dude, I couldn't tell you. Like, I remember the action scenes, I remember the costume, and I remember the bike. That's all I remember.
Yeah. And he had a gemstone in the middle of his forehead to show that he wasn't a human, but he could hide it when he had to pretend to be human.
Okay.
So basically, they just took it off the actor. But yeah, he had a bike, he had a car, and the car and the bike snarked at each other.
Yeah, so if Kit had a younger brother.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the car was a sassy woman, and the bike was a bit of a jock brat kind of bloke.
So yeah, if Kit had a younger brother.
Yeah. And yeah, I think we touched on it before. He evolved from his classic one to the gold and then the blue. The blue one had water powers. He could go underneath someone as a JPEG and then come up behind them and hit them in the head.
They didn't have JPEGs back then.
No. It was a bitmap.
Oh god. Oh no.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember the music being.
I remember the music being Japanese opera as fuck.
It was like do 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 do, and like the only lyrics to the theme tune was just some guy in the background going Mask Rider, Mask Rider.
Yeah, that seemed to be what they did to a lot of Japanese stuff in the 90s, because they did it with Dragon Ball Z as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
Granted, it wasn't quite as gruff and ruffled, but it was like turning a fucking upbeat weird song into a dragon, got the dragon. That shit.
Fuck with me. Yeah. It was well, at least they actually wrote their own. Well, I'm pretty sure they wrote their own song for this as well. But weirdly, I heard the same like themes and leitmotifs from the tunes in other shows in the following years. So it might have been one of those things like the equivalent of Dover syndrome these days for YouTubers, but for like content creators that were televised back in the day. You got these kind of like royalty-free, grandiose sounding bits of music that you could just use, or at least cheaply.
Sure, man. Sure.
But yeah, that's pretty much for Masked Rider.
If we're done on Masked Rider, I do need to loop back because I didn't mean for us to go to Masked Rider straight away.
Sure.
We need to talk about what birthed the Sentai genre. Do you know what show birthed Sentai?
I actually don't.
You're not going to believe me. Spider-Man.
I can kind of see it.
In the 70s, Toei and Marvel came to an agreement, and this was before Marvel was owned by Disney. Where Toei could use anything from Marvel for, I think it was like 3 years, and in return, Marvel could do the same for a Toei property.
Yeah.
Toei chose Spider-Man. Marvel chose a couple of fucking fighting robots to make comics of.
Yeah.
Now, the interesting thing about the Japanese Spider-Man is it's fucking nothing to do with Spider-Man.
Okay.
Pretty much the only thing... basically, I'm pretty sure the owner, whoever was in charge of projects, went, "That's a cool costume. I want that."
Yeah.
And then didn't fucking read the comics. Because...
Dude in Lycra does things and kicks people.
The only thing they got is the name and the fucking costume, alright? You're going to see me all lit up for a moment. I apologise. So, aside from the name and the costume, got fuck all to do with Spider-Man, okay? Do you want to hear the Japanese Sentai Spider-Man's origin story?
Go ahead.
Spider-Man gets his powers from a dying, soon-to-be-dead alien from space. Specifically, this alien came from the planet Spider.
Planet Spider.
That's it. Okay. That's how he got his powers. Oh, also, he gets a cool robot called Leopardon.
Leopardon? Okay.
You know what? Reading that back, it might be Leopardon. Because that's how you spell leopard, and I'm a fucking idiot.
Well, Leopardon. Yeah. I like Leopardon.
So do I. But yeah, do yourself a favor when you got for like 5 minutes. Google Leopardon, and you will see literally the most generic Sentai robot ever. And this is what caused Toei to pretty much insert mecha into every Sentai show ever. Because the toy was so popular with kids. Because no fucking shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing. Like, now that you said it, I can kind of see it. Because, like, Masked Rider, they're all based off bugs.
Yep.
Like, those are all... When you look at it backwards, outside looking in... Yes, they are evocative of Spider-Man, because he's got his big googly eyes on his costume. Mm-hmm. He doesn't... Well, obviously you can't... He's meant to see through them. but if you had them on your costume, you wouldn't be able to fucking see through them.
No.
Because they're just white. And and yeah, all of the mass riders have the big bug eyes. Like, even the ones that have them understated still have them. They still have that kind of
I mean,
aesthetic going on.
I'm looking at all three of mine. They're all fucking. Look at that shit.
Yeah, yeah. It's like Luchador Venom went to Pride. Okay, that was a bit more normal, but still, that's the one
Sorry,
that does.
did you just say Luchador Venom goes to Pride?
Yes.
Oh god, if this was a review, that would be the title. But yeah, here's a fun fact. I did a lot of research for today's show.
Yeah.
Mostly on this Japanese Spider-Man bullshit. The costume for the mecha of Leopardon got so fucked up from fight scenes and eventually stolen.
Oh boy.
Which meant that pretty much every mecha fight scene at the end of an episode ends the same way because they couldn't shoot new shit.
Oh, is that? Oh, yeah. I guess that would be where that comes from as well, isn't it? If you didn't want to damage your prop, then yeah, you would like kill the enemy with a ranged attack, wouldn't you?
Yep, and that's exactly what they did every episode. He threw his. I can't even remember the exact description, but it's like a bone thing, like a boomerang.
A bone meringue, as it were.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, he's a Marowak.
Yeah. Origin of Marowak, Japanese Spider-Man.
But yeah, this is also kind of like the initial, at least, example that I can think of Marvel being stupid with properties.
Yeah.
Not because they gave it to Toei. That was a fair trade. That's all good. But the story's bullshit and has nothing to do with Spider-Man. But Stan Lee and a bunch of people at Marvel went, it's cool though. It's an interesting way to take the character. And in fact, I also found out that this specific Spider-Man is allegedly going to be appearing in the sequel to Spider-Verse. Obviously
That's
not.
pretty cool,
Obviously not. Probably not the live action actor and action, but the actual character. I can't remember the specific name, but the Japanese Peter Parker, basically, who's not Penny Parker.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. The one that's not a weeb, just is actually Japanese.
Yeah. Because his power set is completely different. It'll be an interesting addition to the cast. So yeah.
Well, yeah. Penny Parker's was as well. Like, she had the mecha.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how they tackle it. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, Marvel's licensing issues. They had the license. They did 41 episodes or 31 episodes. I forget the exact number of this show. Because Marvel owned it after the deal went up, they couldn't release VHS tapes after the fact. So the only VHS tape in Japan that existed for a long time contained episode 1 and episode 31. And I assume that's because they didn't have the Spider-Man costume in them. So, yeah, it wasn't until 2006, 2007 where Toei got an agreement with Marvel to actually let them release a fucking complete disc set so people in Japan could, relive it. But yeah, this series is from like the 70s, so it would be really interesting to see how well that sold. But, yeah. Marvel is shit when it comes to licensing agreements. We all know this. They gave their two biggest franchises away, Spider-Man and X-Men, to Fox and Sony respectively, with the condition of you own the rights to film these as long as you release a film a year, which led to a lot of really shit films because they were like, we need to do it for the license.
Fucking dead and all. Yeah, like, even in theme park terms, they just gave away the as much as they wanted of the Marvel license to Universal. In Universal Studios, there is a Marvel Village where the X-Men go around on quad bikes and greet people in costume.
That's dumb, but I love it.
Yeah. The X-Men ride is a waltzer, and it's Storm. There's teacups at Disney where you can power how fast you spin the car that you're in by turning a thing in the middle. They do the same thing for X-Men, and it's Storm's teacups.
Okay, so why'd you call it a waltzer though? That's just
teacups. It's kind of like a waltzer, but it's like a hand-powered waltzer.
Oh, that's the actual name of the fucking mechanic you're using.
Yeah, because the waltzer normally is one where you sit in it, and it goes around on turntables, and it's turntables within turntables, and they all spin. So you can either be not spinning at all, or spinning 4 times as fast, depending on moment to moment. Whereas with these, you're in control with how fast you're spinning and what direction.
Yeah, but they got that at Fort Park, so I just assumed that's what teacups were like.
Yeah, yeah. That's basically the teacup. The teacup way is a little bit more for everyone because you get 3 kids in there. They're only going to be able to move it at kid strength. You get 3 like rugby players in there. One of them's going flying.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, for real, though, that's probably one of my fondest memories of Fort Park, is there was 4 of us in a teacup. I'm a big dude. I'm not the strongest dude in the world, but I'm big, and mass gives you a bit more strength, whether you like it or not. So you got me, and you got 3 other people, all men, on the teacups in Fort Park. We were only there for one reason.
See how fast you can make it go.
So you got 4 fucking pricks. Just go. I'm giving it my all as well. I'm going as I'm fucking thinging. But there's a certain point, like I feel like they've got a limit to them where it's going a certain speed and you just can't add to it.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, after a certain point,
which sucks so hard because you feel like you're weak in that moment. You're like, come on.
Yeah, you can feel the thing resisting you. Like, otherwise they've got the Hulk, which has got an X.
Sorry, I'm just imagining the Hulk spinning teacups.
It's gone.
Hulk smash! But this time he go on little teacup.
Yeah, it's got a rocket launch diagonal cannon that you're on the roller coaster and it cannon launches you out of this.
Okay.
So instead of going tick 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 tick, this actually goes like 0 to 60 or something up there.
It's a bit like stealth.
And, I assume so. I've not been on that.
Actually, I can't remember. I feel like I can't remember if stealth has a fast up or it's just a fast down. Stealth's that one that's literally just you go up high and you come down really fast. It boasted as being like the fastest roller coaster in Europe for a brief period of time.
Okay.
I worked at Fort Park at one point, guys. I know the fucking roller coasters.
Yeah, I've been to Thorpe Park once. The one that I'm more
familiar with?
Yeah, the one that I'm more well versed in is Alton Towers. Same.
Yeah, Alton Towers is just Fort Park, but up north.
Yeah.
I've been to Alton Towers a couple of times as a kid, so I'm not totally dissimilar.
Yeah,
unfamiliar, I should say. Fucking hell. Bad words.
And I think Nemesis was the one at Alton Towers that everyone gave a shit about because that was the one where you got dangle and you got your legs and you kicking them out and then it goes. Ooh.
Yeah. I believe Alton Towers is the one that had had the roller coaster that ripped some teenager's arm off.
Yeah.
I can't remember what that was called though. Oblivion? Does that sound right?
Oblivion is one of them, but I don't know how you get your arm ripped off on that because all it does is you just drop and go down and then you're done. Well, that's literally Oblivion.
It must be another one. I'm just bear in mind it was a new roller coaster and I've not been to Alton Towers in like 15 years, so
yeah.
I generally don't know the name, but I remember it being a real big fucking news day.
Yeah. Well, there was also one at Flamingo Land where multiple people died on the same thing, and they still kept it open. So when we went on it, like it was a known thing that people died on this. I'm like, yeah, let's go on it. The death roller coaster. It's not even a roller coaster. It's just a fucking stick with a bunch of seats on it, and it just swings you around.
See, I can actually tell you my most terrifying experience on a roller coaster.
Oh.
Right. I don't know if people know this outside of the UK, but in Fort Park there is a Saw theme ride, a roller coaster.
Yeah, there is.
I know because I worked in the fucking store for it. Anyway, because I worked in Fort Park, there were some occasions when we were doing our training that it was just like, we've got nothing for you to do today. Have an hour break, do what you want. An hour was enough time to do one ride. I went on the ride with one of my female colleagues. Why did I say it like that? It makes me sound like a creep. You know what I mean. I can't remember.
Your colleagues who happen to be a lady.
I can't remember her name, so that's why I went a female.
Oh no, that's even worse.
I had it. No.
You are nameless. You are female.
Oh, the worst is that fucking Fox News anchor that calls them the fucking birth givers when they're having the abortion discussion. Yeah, I know, right? That's fucked. But anyway, the only reason she's relevant to the story is she was there with me and she freaked out alongside me. I'm a big fella.
Yep.
I know this. They put the Saw thing, they put the safety harness on me, and the safety harness was up here instead of down here. And I was just like, this doesn't feel safe. And I'm like, okay. Like, it was tight against me, but it was up here, and hers was down here because she was a skinny lady, and
Yep.
and I'm just like, I am shitting myself right now, and I said that out loud, and she went, yeah, if I was you, I'd hold on tight, and I'm like. So the entire ride round, I've got a death grip on this fucking thing. Didn't matter, it was perfectly safe, but I was fucking terrified.
Yeah. I think isn't Saw the one that actually like inverts as part of one of the drops?
I haven't got a clue, but it goes upside down a couple of times.
Okay.
So, yeah. Did not like the upside down bits.
Oh no! Normally the upside down bits are normally the easiest ones because the idea is you get fast enough and it just like keeps you in the seat.
Oh god! Here's the thing: I don't really like roller coasters.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm with a group, I will go on them because everyone wants to go on them. But I would not voluntarily just go. I'm gonna go on a roller coaster.
Fair enough.
It's just not my thing.
At an amusement park, roller coasters are the thing that I like the best.
I don't really like amusement parks because that's all there is usually.
Yeah. I mean,
Who the fuck goes to an amusement park and goes, I want to go on the teacups and nothing else?
First ever time I was at Disneyland, we were waiting for the fireworks, and this fucking kid just on repeat, 100% of the time, just went, "I want to go in the teacup. I want to go in the teacup." And it just went on until the fireworks started, and then the teacups were closed.
Oh, take that, random shit kid.
Yeah, little shit. Like, all they had to do was, like, have one of the party members just sit where they were gonna, like, stand for the fireworks while the other one took them off to the teacup, which was in, like, okay, everything's in walking distance, but you could throw a tennis ball and hit it.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's the point of a theme park is usually everything is within walking distance.
Yeah. But this is the Disneyland where it had a train going around the outside, so if you couldn't be asked walking from A to B, you could get on the train and get to it.
I'm going to assume this was Florida then.
Yes, it was, yeah.
There you go then.
Yeah, they got the space for it, so why not?
What else are you going to do in fucking Florida?
I'm
going to go see the Gators.
Well, I was going to... Yeah, become Florida man.
Boy, oh boy,
Man.
I feel like we've wasted about 20 minutes of the episode talking about theme parks.
Yeah, we have. That's fine. With a theme park tangent.
I might actually, when I pop this on the audio version, I might just put Super Sentai and theme parks. But yeah, Spider-Man birthed Sentai.
Yeah.
So
that is an interesting tidbit, yeah.
And yeah, apart from that, the only other thing I've got is Big Bad Beetleborgs. Do you want to move on to that?
Yeah, Big Bad Beetleborgs. This one, like you said, this one had the most focus on the human aspect and the sitcom bits, and there was a really good reason for that. It's because the main Zordon of this show, Gabba, he looked like Jay Leno, and he was like this really, I wouldn't say cool looking, but very memorable, like cartoonish, pale Jay Leno Elvis, who apparently was like a, what is he, a ghost genie?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because you get the monsters, which is the mummy, vampire, and I think Frankenstein, are chasing the kids around the mansion, and then they accidentally free him, and then he gives the kids a wish. So, I kind of a ghost genie? It's very unclear, you're right.
Yeah, he's and he's the master of the house once he's freed as well, isn't he? So
yeah, and that's what stops the well, that and the fact that they're the Big Bad Beetleborgs now, but it stops the monsters from trying to kill them and eat them, I assume.
Yeah.
Now, very interesting. There's a very cool, well, not cool, but direct parallel we can make to Power Rangers, and it feels like it's a trope, especially in Western Sentai shows.
Yeah.
And that trope is, who's the Green Ranger? In Big Bad Beetleborgs. And I'm going to have to quote the wiki here because it's got a very concise summary, so forgive me for that, Rick.
Sure, not a problem.
There is a 6-part episode string of shows where Vexor, who is basically the Rita Repulsa, Lord Zed, etc., you know the type of Big Bad Beetleborgs, creates his own Beetleborg, Shadow Borg, which is a match for the Beetleborgs and briefly takes their powers away. They had to call a temporary Beetleborg White Blaster Beetleborg, aka Josh Baldwin, and After Shadowborg was destroyed, Josh loses his powers and fucks off. But the Beetleborgs would meet the Beetleborgs comic creator Art Fortunes during the 6-part stories, and that's how the White Blaster Beetleborg exists. AKA, look, it's the Green Ranger story again, because the Ranger story is always awesome.
Yeah. Well, I also like the idea of the Shadow Ranger. So, like, obviously, you described it. There's an evil Beetleborg, and he does evil Beetleborg stuff. I always did like there being a match for the good guys who is the same power set.
But that's what I'm saying. The Green Ranger. That's exactly what that is. Except by the end of that storyline, he obviously has a face turn.
Yeah, in one of the other series, they had a full team of them, the Psycho Rangers. And they never revisited that, and it's such a cool concept. I don't know why they just only used it in that one episode, but oh well.
I can tell you why. Because every Western Sentai show does the same thing, and they've always done it this way, and it kind of works, especially for kids, they don't know any better. Where all of the suit fighting and suit action sequences are from the original Sentai show. Everything when you can see the actors' faces is filmed for the Western audience.
Yeah, totally.
So that's probably why they didn't bring them back, because the Sentai original show didn't use them more than once.
Okay, so A, yes, but B, I don't know why the Sentai show didn't do this, because this is a really cool concept.
Because they do it all the time, except they usually only do it with one ranger. I get what you're saying. It would be cool to have a whole team for an extended period of time, but when it's one, it's very easy to do the face turn.
Yeah, I feel you. But yeah, I think when they got the powers taken away, they got new powers, and that was the transition from season 1 to season 2.
Yep, makes sense.
So they got to be different coloured Beetleborgs with different suits.
Gee, that's not suspicious.
Characters. Yeah. And there was one that could be kind of bullshit into being, okay, this is the one that's a girl. In the first season, it was the red one, and in the second season, it was the purple one.
Hey, this one, we can't see their dick. It's the girl.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, I can't believe I said that. Because, in this day and age, that's not necessarily even true now.
Man, even the Yellow Ranger, you could see his knob sometimes. And
well, here's the interesting thing, because I had to Google a Sentai image for the background for the podcast. Always do.
Yeah.
And it's the White Ranger with a bunch of Rangers that aren't the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Yeah, I noticed this when this started broadcasting. That is the original series that the White Ranger is from.
Yeah.
So whenever they film the White Ranger with the Mighty Morphin guys, that is original footage from Saban, because they were from different series.
Yeah, but I feel like after the first season finished, Saban had the common sense to go, hey, you're not using the suits anymore because you've moved on to different Sentai stuff. Can we borrow them?
Yeah.
Or
at least have the rights to reproduce them.
Yeah. Like,
they did that even right in the beginning. Like, even in the first Green Ranger episodes, you could tell when there was a plastic thing that he was wearing as his shield. That was original. And when it was cloth and foam, that was...
fair enough, man.
That was original footage from the Western side.
Like, I brought these along because they're nice and easy, and I don't have to, struggle to bring them downstairs and do this and that with them. I do have a replica of the Red Ranger's helmet.
Yes.
And it's just made out of plastic. It's not anything fucking high tech, and I'm pretty sure I got it from Etsy, so it's not official or anything.
Yeah.
But one of my ambitions is to get it signed by both Mighty Morphin Red Rangers.
Yeah, good idea.
The only annoying thing is like I said, it's very cumbersome because it's big. So it'd be very annoying to have to take that to a Comic-Con.
Oh, you could go as a burglar. You could cosplay as like a traditional like burglar, with the stripy suit and the swag bag.
Yeah, but here's the problem, Rick. Because of my size, I would actually look like the Hamburglar.
That's good.
Oh, I don't want to fucking dress as that prick. I'd rather dress as Grimace. Although, that being said, I could dress as the Repo Man from WWF.
Or the Krusty Burglar.
Ugh. Stop! He's already dead! Could you imagine if Ronald McDonald just started beating the ever-loving shite out of the hamburger in front of a bunch of kids? I would love it and find it hilarious, but it would traumatize some people.
See, exactly as well. It would be something like some meth head suit actor it's his first day, and he's like, yeah, wee gobshite, and then just go for him. Yeah.
I like how your go-to accent for a meth head is Scottish.
Yeah, well, like, it's the opposite, isn't it? Like, I don't even think they even make meth in Scotland. It's the angriest thing I could think of straight away. It's a Scottish person calling someone a gobshite. So,
and for our one Scottish listener, we apologise for calling you a meth head.
No, I'm saying the Scottish people are not meth heads, but the angriest thing I could think of as a Scottish person.
And we're sorry for that insinuation. Oh, they fuck it. I'm pretty sure most Scottish people have gotten over that fucking stereotype by now, right?
Nah, the angriest thing I can actually think of is a Republican, but I can't do that accent.
Nah. But yes, I don't think we could talk about Sentai without bringing up the fact that it has been parodied to fucking death.
Oh, it has, absolutely.
The two I can think of off the top of my mind. One is quite funny. One is just, it exists, and isn't even a real parody so much as this is a thing we're doing because it's cool. The first one is the fucking Ginyu Force.
Yes.
They're fucking great. I love them. I love the fact that Team 4-Star really leans into it as well.
Yeah. They use I think that the song that they have for the Toku Sentai song was actually from the Japanese show as well.
That makes sense.
Like, if you listen to it long enough, they actually talk in Japanese about who they are and what their power is. Like, I am Berta, I'm the fastest in the universe, and all that.
But I also like the bit beforehand with Vegeta who goes, "It's Ginyu Force, they're like the Power Rangers. Who? Big Bad Beetleborgs? Multicolored men from space. Oh, yeah. Oh, damn it." But yeah, the other one is, of course, the Prism Rangers from Disgaea.
Yes.
Which again is a parody, but it's also like played straight. It's literally just that. And like most recently, Piori, our first actual main character from the Prism Rangers.
Yeah, like you say, main character Prism Ranger. We've had playable ones in the past, but this is the first time we've had one who's named, has her mask off, and is really cute.
Oh god, yeah. Oh, she is adorable.
Yeah, she is. Like, I liked a lot of the Disgaea 6 cast. But yeah,
I didn't have any issue with them, but I think that's a podcast for another day.
Yeah, true. What was I going to say about the thing? I apologize. My train of thought has crashed.
We're talking about parodies. Does that help?
Yeah. So, I was going to bring it back slightly. The first time I ever heard the term Sentai was actually in a D&D book.
Interesting. What edition?
It was a 3rd edition D&D book, but it was a spin-off book called Big Eyes Small Mouth. It was anime D&D, and they codified a load of anime tropes into classes.
Yeah, that's cool. I love that. That's an awesome concept.
And the Sentai was, on its own, it was shit, but like,
you had 5 of them.
Yeah, its main thing was team attack, so it got exponentially stronger the more Sentai you had in your party.
So basically, hey, if you want to play Sentai, then that's what the campaign's going to be. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, totally. But because it was D&D 3.5, well, D&D 3rd Ed 3.5, you could just multi-class anything. So you could just be a giant robot student Sentai hot rod.
I hate everything you just said. I've now come down from my high of hearing the magnificence of this concept to, oh, that's dumb.
Yeah. And because it was fully compatible, you could be a barbarian cleric Sentai.
Nope.
Man, how cool would it be if just one of the team members was multi-class into barbarian and was just like, fuck this, went rage and started ripping monsters apart with their bare hands?
To be fair, that's usually what the fucking Green Ranger is.
Yeah. The one that's the actual barbarian ace, the Knuckles, as it were.
But yeah, I think the only other thing I know you definitely wanted to talk about was VR Troopers, because you keep bringing it up.
Yeah. It was the first additional one they did. I remember being really excited for it when I was a kid, because it was the first time there'd been a Power Rangers that wasn't Power Rangers. Watched the first, well, just before the first episode came out, they released toys. Yep. I remember getting a $3.99 toy which was when you used to get action figures that were like on a cardboard back rather than the full size Action Man ones. Like the Action Man ones were like 12 quid, which was a big deal, but the 3.99 ones you could get with a couple of weeks pocket money.
Yeah.
So I got that. I was really excited. Saw the first episode. It was shit.
Well, that's the interesting thing about VR Troopers. The only reason it's even on my radar is I remember the name.
Yeah.
And for a brief period of time, Netflix had pretty much all the Sentai shows, or the westernized versions of them, I should say. And that was one of them. And I was like, oh, that's cool. We'll do a podcast about that one day. Oh, it's gone. But yeah, I don't even know the concept. Well, I can kind of guess from VR Troopers. I assume it was virtual reality rather than actual real life.
Combination of both. So things were happening in real life, but the way that they thought it was in the VR world.
Sounds a bit like Reboot.
Yeah, it was that, and well, it's kind of between that and Persona.
Don't you dare compare shite to Persona.
Exactly. Like, it was the concept that the new Personas use, like specifically 4 and 5, not 3 and below, but done badly in the past. Like, the main villain was this billionaire who wanted to, like, control the city. And
you're a billionaire. You can buy the city.
Yeah, I think that's the entire point. He wanted to buy the city to just make a nuclear power plant every week. And they had to go hacking into the Matrix to stop him. Because he was instead of just using his money, he was releasing some cyber virus into the cyberspace to try and like hack the deeds to own things or something.
That's some
fucking stupid.
Yeah, that bad writing, I guess. I guess their excuse is kids aren't going to think about it for too long. But the problem is, everybody knows that if you write a kids show, you need to write a show that adults can enjoy.
Yeah.
Just use concepts that kids can understand.
I was 9, and I was able to discern that it was shit.
That's not a good sign.
Yeah.
Mind you, it reminds me, I remember I was watching a podcast called, bollocks. Hang on. It's a wrestling podcast. Old school wrestling review, I think. Yeah, OSW. Okay. Where there was a storyline back in the day where the Undertaker had to fight the fake Undertaker because the fake Undertaker had taken over.
Okay, the Undertaker.
The Underfaker, if you will.
Oh, the Undertaker,
yeah. But before that, it was just the fake Undertaker, and there was always something a bit off about him. Like if you're an adult, you know it's not the Undertaker. However, one of the lads who was watching when his daughter came in and goes, "Is that the Undertaker?" Oh wait, no, it's not. And at which point he goes, "Congratulations, WWF, you almost fooled a small child." It's like, fucking, if you can't fool a small child, don't do it.
Yeah. It was one of the evil genius tropes of, on the evil genius list, one of the things is, I shall not proceed with a plan that I cannot both explain to a 6-year-old and not therefore immediately be foiled by said 6-year-old.
Well, that's also another thing, isn't it? Where they say you don't truly understand a subject unless you can explain it to someone else. Granted, it's a bit different explaining something to another adult than it is to explain it to a child, but you know, it still stands.
To a degree, like, teaching is a very obvious skill.
Not teaching, just explaining it to someone else.
Sure.
Like, I specifically said explaining, not teaching.
Yeah, but learning and relaying are different skills.
I get you, but again, like, if you think understand a subject, you can probably explain it to someone else. They don't have to understand everything about it, but they could get the core gist.
Yeah, now, they can be along for the ride and enjoy the ride. So, hello, viewers.
Fair enough. But there's obviously exceptions to the rule. I used to have a Muslim coworker who, on a regular basis, because we're bored as shit at work, we work retail, we discuss... He used to say belief system, but obviously atheism isn't a belief system. It's the lack of a belief system. But whatever, I let him have that one. It was a really fucking... It would have been really petty of me to constantly argue that point. He'd tell me shit about, his faith, which not a lot of it sunk in, not gonna lie, but I learned about a bit more about Ramadan and shit like that. And I tried to explain evolution to him for the longest time. And it wasn't like talking to a brick wall, but it very much felt like he just didn't want to understand.
Yeah.
Because the
Why,
conversation...
why do we come from monkeys if we still have monkeys?
In his defense, he never said shit like that.
No.
It was always the same thing of like, well, here, this, that, black, X, Y, Z, and he went, I just don't get it. And like, so I'll try a different method tomorrow. But like, I'm gonna go on a rant. I apologize. The evolution thing, I have a go-to for it.
Yeah.
My go-to is fruit flies. Because there's a very well-known experiment. I can't remember the exact details of the scientist or anything. But fruit flies,
the Punnett squares and all that.
Sort of. Maybe that's what the thing that they're kept in is called. But and again, I simplify it and I don't actually use the exact results from the experiment because I can't remember that much information off the top of my head. But it's very simple. Fruit flies only live a couple of days at best, so you can go through generations really, really quickly. And what the scientists did for the experiment is, we'll just take two because it's easier to explain. One enclosure, they were only fed grapes. The other enclosure, they were only fed lemons. After about 3 weeks, we're talking about 10 or more generations after 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Both sets of fruit flies now look completely different. Because they've evolved to a diet of grapes or a diet of lemons. That's it. That's the simple gist of it. You know, I feel like that's a rather simple way of explaining evolution. However, like, the questions that come from that are usually a bit more difficult to answer because some people struggle with even that concept, you know?
Some people have chosen their side and are sticking to it.
I mean, I'll admit, I'm very pig-headed when it comes to religion.
Yeah.
I don't see the point in hearing the same arguments again and again. So, I get it. It sucks to hear the same thing again and again and again and still go like, yeah, but I don't think that's correct. You know? But you got to be willing to at least not accept necessarily, but
yeah, it's one of those where you can say I understand, but I don't agree.
Yeah, but I don't even get that usually.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's the opposite of the average voter. Like, for every side of I don't understand, but I agree. Like, that's how you get votes. Is you trick people into agreeing with you by glossing over things that you know that they're probably not going to understand, because if they did, they wouldn't vote for you.
We'll free up £600 million for the NHS. We're not going to spend it. We're not going to spend it on the NHS, but we could have it for the NHS.
Yep.
Tax billionaires. Anyway,
yeah.
I think that's probably it for us, isn't it? Unless there's anything else you want to touch upon?
There was also the Mystic Knights of Turnanog, but I know nothing about it.
Fuck off! That wasn't Sentai. That was just that wasn't Sentai. I promise you, it weren't.
Yeah, was it just another Saban thing that just happened to be a team?
I think so. Like, they went back in time to medieval England, and that would be a very really an odd one for a Japanese show to do.
Yeah, was it like Celtic mythology?
Something like that, yes. And I heard this from someone else. It's not me saying it, but the most unrealistic thing about that show isn't the mystical bullshit. It's the fact they had a black kid. It's true though. A black kid in medieval England. Oh boy.
Medieval England, no. Definitely not medieval. Like, that's like the 1400s. Yeah, no.
Like, the only thing worse would be... Oh, fuck. I can't remember the years that slavery was really bad in the States because I'm not from there. I'd say, like, 1800s.
Yeah.
1800s USA, maybe. Might be worse.
Let's just say, when it first started, 1776, yeah, it was still obviously a thing then.
That's true. Like I said, man, we don't get taught American history in England, believe it or not.
No, we just have to learn it via osmosis. If we want to learn any American history, we have to go out and like get it off our own backs. So by doing so, we tend not to get a version that's skewered one way or the other.
I don't think you could skew slavery into a good thing.
No.
Like,
the only way it ever gets skewed into a good thing is by glossing over it and saying, "Oh, it was about land rights." Like the whole Civil War.
Oh, you're
thing.
talking about, no, that's Civil War. That's different to slavery outright. However, I'll put it this way, all right? Do you know why I know what I know about slavery?
Go ahead.
Mostly because of video games.
Fair enough.
Not even a joke.
Like, that's the thing. A lot of what I know about real world things comes from fiction, or is bound and grounded in fiction. If something is an interesting enough topic, then yeah, you will go and look at it.
Yeah. Case in point. I really liked Dynasty Warriors as a kid.
Yeah.
They had a glossary that said Romance of the Three Kingdoms. I went, what the fuck is that? Oh, it's a book. Oh, I'm going to read the shit out of that. Oh, I ostracized myself for 5 years because it's all I read.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. And on that bombshell, shall we wrap up?
Yeah. If you liked the video or the audio...
Questions, you prick.
Yeah. So, from all the Super Sentai, or mostly the spin-offs really, do you have a favourite moment?
The crossover between Kamen Rider and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, because it's the one I remember.
Ditto.
I don't remember what happens in that episode, but it's on Netflix. Maybe we'll do it for a review one day.
Maybe we shall, yeah. Now, exactly, that's exactly it. Like, it was a really good way to introduce a new hero that wasn't going to stick around.
Yeah.
It was like a 3 or 5-parter or something. I think it was like a 5-parter and he didn't show up until like part 2, because the part 1 was getting to the planet.
I think it was a 3-parter, because the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles also had a crossover in that series, and they had 2 episodes.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, what I might be thinking of is he didn't show up until the second part of the first episode, because it was shown on TV and you had adverts.
Maybe so, man. Man, kids these days always complaining about adverts. They don't know the struggle.
No.
Adverts used to be a godsend. You spent 3 hours drinking juice and having some snacks. I need to piss. But what? Oh no, Yoa Sakura's about to get killed by Len.
Oh, sweet. That little square little thing is showing up in the corner. That means the advert's coming up.
Okay, I've got 5 minutes to have a piss. I don't need a shit. I can hold it in.
Yeah. Oh, it's ITV. It's going to take longer. Yeah, I've got time to file one out as long as it don't require wiping. But yeah, my favorite moment is the same.
Yeah.
And we can't always talk about the good. We have to talk about the bad stuff. Do you have a weakest link?
I'll be honest with you. I feel like I'm going to bring up merchandising again. Merchandising is crap in the West.
Yeah, totally.
Look at this. Tell me you wouldn't buy a full set of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers helmets. Look, that's so cool. You can't see it because it's dusty as fuck. But
I can see the there's like a jewel effect on the eyes, and that looks actually really neat.
Yeah, but it's also like it's got it in Japanese, but it's Masked Rider Best Selection 3. Yeah. It's Bandai. Bandai should know better. They know how to merch. Oh, then again, it's Japanese, isn't it? I keep forgetting that fact. So
yeah.
Bandai knows what they're doing in Japan. Don't know what the fuck they're doing in the West. / I think it's Hasbro now. But yeah, what about you? Do you have a weakest link for me?
My weakest link is, as we touched on it before, but as a 9-year-old, I could tell that VR Troopers was shit.
Your weakest link is the entire concept of VR Troopers. That's a big weak link, man.
Apparently my video's frozen. I think my video's frozen.
Yeah,
so,
don't worry about it.
So, after everything, do you have an MVP?
My MVP, and I had to look up his name because I didn't know his first name, is Haim Saban.
Yep. It's it's normally a pretty easy one with things like that. He's the visionary who wanted to make the most amount of money out of something that was already made.
Yeah, pretty much, but you cannot deny that without him, we would not have had Power Rangers in general, let alone all the other Sentai shit that we got. Because bear in mind, this was a time where you couldn't just look up shit from other countries' TV stations. It had to be localized.
Yeah. Saban's entire catalog is like, there's a very small amount of it that is actually Sentai. Like, he was very prolific in bringing things over mostly from the East, but sometimes creating things from scratch. But yeah, mostly just rebranding something that was already made.
But again, back in the time when he was doing that, that was crucial to get shit.
Yeah, yeah. Like, we wouldn't have had Digimon if it weren't for Saban.
Man, I can't imagine my life without Digimon.
So yeah, thank you, Saban, mostly for Digimon, but also for Power Rangers.
Power Rangers was a bigger part of my childhood, not gonna lie. But
Okay, yeah, just because my childhood started earlier, then yes.
but yes, Rick, I'll throw it back at you. Who do you think deserves the MVP spot?
I think he does, doesn't he? Like,
Yeah.
as much as there were rumblings of him not being a very good boss to work for,
You could say that about any producer.
yeah, like the whole reason that 3 of the Power Rangers left was because he wasn't a very good boss to work for.
That being said, I've not heard any sexual assault allegations, which is
Absolutely not.
a pretty big fucking deal for a producer.
It's not a very high bar, but it's surprising how many people trip over it.
Yeah. It's not surprising, it's depressing, but I
Yeah,
get your
yeah.
point still stands. And, you know,
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, it's sad, but it is a point in my book that he hasn't had any allegations. He has had allegations of stealing music, but that's... I don't care, that's not sexual assault.
Yeah, yeah.
I shouldn't laugh at that, that's not...
But yeah, Haim Saban gets... We've agreed on both the favourite moment and the MVP, so... A pretty easy episode today.
Yeah.
So, on that bombshell, if you like the episode, rate, comment, and subscribe.
I told you we don't do that.
Subscribe only if you think we deserve it. I think that's about as good as we can ask for, really. If you're listening to us on one of the audio platforms, you can send us an email. Where would that email go to?
nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com. Once again, that is nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com. We do read every email, because of course we do. It's mostly spam.
Yep. So it's going to be a goodbye from me.
Yeah, and it's going to be a jolly farewell from me. Please join us next week, guys.
Bye. I'm waving, you can't tell. Bye.
Bye-bye.